Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Welcome to No Question About That. This is the Weekend Pod with me, Ed, and Dominic Booth, and we have a win to talk about, Dominic.
Oh, doesn't that feel good, Ed? Doesn't that feel good? That's really perked up my weekend, to be honest.
I've talked about this before, how it's so ridiculous that our weekends and our moods are shaped by what happens with 11 men kicking the ball around. But it's a good weekend. Doesn't get better than a late winner at Anfield.
I said to you before we came on air, I'm hungover. I was at a wedding last night. It was a brilliant wedding. Had a great time. Just seen United beat Liverpool and I've just finished a curry. So, yeah, actually, that doesn't really get much better than that. That's like Alan Partridge. Things don't get much better than that, Ed.
Oh, it's good. It's good. That second half felt like it dragged on a very, very, very long time. And there was something, I don't know what it was. I was talking to my friend in the pub when we were watching it. It just seemed to be some kind of invisible magical shield in front of our goal, because whenever Liverpool got a chance they blew it. They just kept blowing it. They hit the post I think it was 3 times. A few other good chances, and I know we were like, yeah, destined, and then almost felt like it was snatched away. Only for your doppelganger Harry Maguire. He loves this club.
My brother from another mother.
Yeah. Harry Maguire, and you fucked Harry Potter and Harry Maguire came out. I think it's something like that, isn't it? The 3 of you together. It's like,
they do.
Have you ever seen you in the same room? No.
No. Well, I actually have been in the same room as Harry Maguire, but presumably it was some sort of like space-time continuum thing where, you know, I wasn't supposed to ever come across myself. I was actually called Harry Maguire by the taxi driver at 12:30 on the way back from this wedding last night, which initially he said Harry Kane. And I was like, I do not look like Harry Kane. That is a real insult. And then he corrected it to Maguire. But maybe it was fate that it should fall at Harry's head. That's the difference between this one and the one last year at Anfield that he missed.
They missed.
This one was on his head. And his head is far more affected than his feet, as we all know.
It certainly is. What a ball that was from Bruno Fernandes, though, on the volley. Controlled volley cross pass. It's kind of, it's the thing, I don't want to, we've just been in Liverpool, so not too much bitching, but it's, I think, the most annoying / stupid thing to take our one truly elite player and move him away from goal when he can do stuff like that. But I don't want to bitch and moan too much because we won a game at Anfield, so it's not the day to complain.
Bruno was having a horrible second half as well.
He gave the ball away a few times. Yeah.
He started brilliantly and he dragged the team with him in that first half, and the way he was sniping around in midfield and seemingly everywhere. Gary Neville said it after 15-20 minutes that Fernandes has just been everywhere. I think he quite clearly ran out of steam in the game, as I think a lot of United players did actually as that second half went on. Liverpool just chucked more and more attacking talent at the game. It just felt like we were never going to withstand that and that they were going to score at some stage. Just for me, pleased to see that, you know, they bounced back from the concession of that goal and they didn't just become it. I thought it was an inevitability as soon as we conceded 1 that they'd get 2 and that'd be it. Pleasantly surprised by the character of the team today. Yeah,
backs against the wall win at Anfield just doesn't get better. No better test of character. Although Anfield is not what it was. I mean, I guess a lot of sort of the top end clubs of the atmosphere has been changed by the desire to have more single match ticket holders in the grounds because you can charge a higher price than season ticket holders. That's very true of Liverpool. They've got quite a high percentage of single match ticket holders, and I think that makes the atmosphere flat at Anfield in the way it hasn't been in the past, and it was quite quiet for long periods of the day. I don't know, maybe it's the edginess of them being behind for quite a long time or whatever, but between the singing of that song that should not be named at the pre-kick-off to when they scored, just nothing.
Yeah.
And United did a good job. They didn't press from the front. They dropped into a mid-block and then got deeper and deeper as the game went on. But they did a good job of restricting Liverpool to mostly low-quality chances. Now, they created a lot of chances. They had 19 shots or something like that. So there's a lot of XG there. And in theory, if you look at the Opta stats, it says 5 big chances. I was like, which 5 were the big chances for Liverpool?
Thinking of 3, and they all fell to Gakpo. That's the 3 that I can think of. The ones at the post, one was a bit of a freak cross that, if that had gone in, United would probably consider themselves quite unlucky. The other one, it was a great effort, a great killing shot from Gakpo. I can't remember the third time they hit the post now, but it was
a through ball, the one-on-one.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good chance, but it didn't feel to me like they were battering the door down, especially in the first half. In the first half, I tweeted this. I thought it was about as perfect a first half performance as you really could have hoped for in the circumstances. Like you said, quieted the crowd down. Liverpool had a couple of chances, but they didn't look like scoring to me. They didn't look like they were hammering the door down. And United's forward threat was really evident and so potent, especially on that right-hand side. And Bomo and Ahmad's combination on that right-hand side just making Kirkes look like maybe he wasn't the greatest left-back signing of all time, despite what some Liverpool fans were telling us. Yeah, and I think it was a 2.8-ish XG for them and overall 1.25-ish for us. So I think, like I said, they're a better team than us. Liverpool are a better team than United. They've got better strength in depth. They've got better players. They're able to bring on the kind of talent that we're not able to bring on at the moment. You're going to need some luck to win at Anfield. But I think for me, there were 2 questions I was thinking about as the game was going on, whether United could answer these 2 questions. One of which was, how big is the gap between the 2 teams? Liverpool are better, but how much better are they? And do United have the mental resilience that they've not had for years and years to come away with something from this game? Even if it was a draw, I know we were 1-0 up for ages. We all would have taken a 1-1 draw, I think. Can the players do that? And I think we got positive answers to those questions. Well, obviously, all the limitations we all know about with the system and with the squad and everything. But we all knew that Amorim could set a team up for a game like this tactically. That's the one thing he's proven he's been able to do at United. And it was those other questions about mentality, about how big this journey is going to be. Maybe we aren't as far off these elite sides as we could be, or some people in the press seem to say we are.
Well, I mean, United are the number one driver of traffic and views everywhere, so there's always got to be some commentary about what's going on. Slot talked about United sort of direct play, and we were quite direct today. It's get it forward as quickly as possible and then try and either win second balls or create from the deep into the opposition area. And he talked about how that was a game model that is not going to win you the league, and it's not one that any of the top sides play, but it's good for when you play against top sides. Now, that was pretty patronising from him, but he also analysed it right. Yeah, this is sit mid to low block, go quite direct to the forwards, try and create chances from there, avoid central midfield, basically. And for this kind of thing, it works. We've actually got a run of not playing too many top teams now, because we've played all the top 4. And
that's what scares me.
Well, that's it. And it's kind of what the point, we'd look at that and go, well, hey, we can kick on from here. But actually, I do think that long ball game against teams that sit in the low block is just not very effective. Has not been for Ruben Amorim for any of his period at United. So we'll see, but again, don't want to be too churlish because we just won at Anfield, and that's great. And look, it was fantastic both beginning and end of the game, to score within 2 minutes of kick-off. Really good finish from Brighton Mbeumo. We know he's a high-quality player. And
he was excellent today.
Yeah, he was excellent today. Cunha as well. Excellent
Massive.
today. Just running and running and running. His ability to carry the ball is a very important part of Amorim's model. So if you're not going to break the lines with passes from central midfield, which United don't. Actually, Bruno talked about that before the game as well. Talked about the difference between the midfield setup now and when we had Pogba and Matic in there. So if you're not going to break the lines with those passing, ball carrying's really important. And you kind of see why Amorim was so keen to have Cunha and Mbeumo, because they're both excellent at that. And Cunha's spikiness is fantastic as well. That is character, His ability to fight for everything, fight off players, get his big ass in the way, kick players, whatever it takes, basically. That kind of spirit really shone through.
We had a few of those players today, the guys you want in your corner when the going gets tough. I mean, I thought De Ligt quietly went about his business very well today. Even Luke Shaw, I thought, had a pretty decent game under heavy pressure at times. Casemiro, until he got that yellow card and then maybe the knock that forced him off all in one move, I thought he was having a decent game until that point as well, and just showed a cool head when Agate came on and we started to lose control, didn't we? We started to lose the run of ourselves. We just couldn't retain the ball in midfield and then get it upfield. Progress the ball was just really hard after that point. But I also think, while we're praising Amorim, and I will praise Amorim for this win, because God, first back-to-back Premier League victories and all that. I know that's what everyone is focusing on. I prefer to focus on the fact that we just beat the Premier League champions, who spent £500 million on a new team and didn't look that threatening for much. Yeah, just don't look like as good a team, which is absolutely crazy to me. I'd rather focus on Amorim's plus points, but I didn't like his changes today at all, and I don't know why he saw bringing on Patrick Dorgu as a necessity. That just seemed completely unnecessary. Ahmad was having a good game. Dallo was actually doing a half decent job at left wing back. Those are changes that didn't need to be made. And I also am not sure that Sesko was the change that needed to be made when Mount was having a good game in the left 10 position, and Cunha was dropping deep and helping us get up the pitch from false nine. Maybe it was legs, maybe it was tiredness. As I've said, there did seem to be some fatigue really setting in, but I question some of them.
Well, on the Ahmad change, he talked about it, the yellow card, and he said it was just getting a bit physical. And so that appears to be why he's made that change, because he had a yellow card, and we took one for the team there, did Ahmad. The Sesko one, I didn't mind that so much, because you actually saw as soon as he came on, the ball over the top became, it was really on. His ability to sort of run without the ball is pretty good. I wish he'd shot earlier, that one where he was almost through. He just waited a bit too long, didn't he? So there was that ridiculous article in The Athletic this week, which everyone read and pissed everyone off, in which they surveyed 20 random agents from a pool of tens of thousands, right? Why those? And he's apparently the worst signing of the summer, which was absolutely, totally ridiculous. And the person who put his byline to that one should be fairly embarrassed. Not one of the usual United writers as well, I add. But I have no worries about him. I think he's a good forward. I think there's a lot about him. Now, whether he's the kind of player has the instincts to score 30 goals a season, I'm not sure. But as a number 9 in this kind of system, who's able to have the ball in front of him or with his back to goal, doesn't really matter. Will run into the channels, can also link play, which he did nicely on a few occasions today. So I'm not worried about him. And I thought it was just okay in a situation where perhaps the out ball is going to be the long ball. It didn't necessarily really work because United went deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. But Amorim doesn't change his substitutions don't change the state of the game, really. They feel like they're quite reactive. He waited ages to bring Kobbie Mainoo on. Kobbie, of course, is a player who, when you are in defensive situations, can break through the lines by carrying the ball. Actually, something that Bruno talked about in his interview this week. I thought that could have come much earlier if we just wanted to get a bit of control. Every time Casemiro goes off and Duarte comes on, we lose lose the run of ourselves. Like, it just the whole shape of the team just breaks down. And then obviously he made the inevitable centre-back for centre-back substitution, which he does every single game. Just like every single game.
I don't have an issue with that in a way, because
I mean, it's just fine. It's just a weird quirk, isn't it? You know, and he's talked about it. I think it's the ability to sort of jump into the press. Not that United were pressing today.
I had that dream again. My small business needs to hire, but I don't use LinkedIn, and I hire wrong. So then I'm doing IT, and when I go to plug the servers in, they become sentient, and they won't let us access our network unless we forward their chain emails and memes to more and more and more people, and then I wake up.
Don't let hiring nightmares ruin your dreams. LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant finds and invites best fit candidates to apply, so you can discover talent you may have missed. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/quality. Start hiring today with LinkedIn.
No, and that was fine. You know, the not pressing thing, the long balls from every time Lammans getting it, you know, humping it long. I was absolutely fine with all of that on a one-off basis away at Anfield, because I don't want to see Maguire with this facing his own goal, receiving the ball with 3 Liverpool players pressing him. No one wants to see that. We know how that's going to end. It was percentage football today, and that's perfectly acceptable away at Anfield. Yeah. It's like you say, if we do that next week at home to Brighton, if we do that against Forest, Wolves, whoever we've got coming up,
we will, though. We're the thing.
In trouble. You know, we need to find a different way. We need to find a way through those teams, and that's when, you know, we saw Cunha today absolutely immense, like you say, holding people off, winning free kicks, getting us up the pitch. He's just got that dog in him, and I love that about him. But he hasn't got a goal or an assist in United colours yet.
No.
So we need to see him unpick the locks against those tighter defences, against those deep blocks. And that's been the challenge for United teams since pre-Ollie era. I don't know. When have United done well against teams who sit deep and ask them to break them
not
down?
even under Ollie, because Ollie's was very much a transitional team. I mean, the best football we've played since Fergie, but very much transitional football. Yeah, we don't have control. I mistakenly thought that Amorim Ball would end up progressing us more towards a team that has control. And I know the model at Sporting was quick balls forward to exploit the rapid front three they had, but it wasn't long balls. And if you look at their possession stats from his time, they were, except in those big European games, Arsenal, City, and so on, where they played a specific way, they had a lot of possession. And so I thought the model would evolve towards more of that. He's done the opposite. And it feels quite reactive to do that, maybe to his situation, the pressure he's under to keep his job. We seem to have swung so far to playing long balls. And I just don't think we're going to be able to exploit the pace of Sesko and Mbeumo, and to some extent Cunha, and their quality in the final third through percentage football. Are we going to get wave after wave of attack, putting pressure on a team that's happy to sit in a low block? I don't know, and that's what Slot was going on about before the game, that this is not a way to win a league. And I think he's right. It's not since Blackburn won the league in the mid-90s that a team who basically plays direct football has won the Premier League. Now,
maybe Leicester, I guess you'd argue, I don't know.
Yeah, Leicester were direct, but they weren't long. I mean, they just had pace, didn't they? You know, they
were just counter-attacking, weren't they? Really? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't sophisticated, but United aren't sophisticated either, right? It's not like we're doing De Zerbi or Herzl style press baiting at all, right? We are trying to get it into dangerous areas as quickly as possible, and mostly from wide areas rather than the centre of the pitch. If it happens to be in the centre of the pitch, Bruno and Casemiro in there to get the ball forward quickly. It's quite a basic model, and so as fantastic as today is, I don't think it really tells us anything about United's, where United are going to end up in the table. Now, there's a massive opportunity because there's a lot of flawed teams this season. That 3rd to 8th, pick any 5 teams there because it could be anything, right? So there's definitely an opportunity. He was asked after the game, actually, Amorim, about Champions League football, because we're only a win away from the Champions League places. And he sort of played that down because, last week he's answering questions about whether he's going to keep his job.
Are you going to lose your job? Yeah. So
yeah.
that's the way that the media works nowadays. You literally lurch from near disaster. What is that Duncan Alexander tweet, isn't it, where in the modern day Premier League there always has to be one crisis club, but the aim of at the end of every weekend is it's not you. And it's not United at the end of this weekend, and we can all rejoice in that fact. Liverpool have lost 4 on the bounce. Forest are a mess. Pick your choice of other teams who are the crisis club this week. Sorry, guys. Manchester United, usual incumbent in that role, have relinquished the seat for at least a short while, and let's be happy about that. But that Brighton game for me next week now, it just becomes so fascinating because it's exactly the kind of fixture that's befuddled United for a good few years. We know what Brighton are about. We know they'll come out with the press. We know that they'll try and upset United. They think that they can press us to death, basically, and then pass us to death, because also our pressing isn't very good either. So can Amorim ball be as sort of malleable as he says it is? He claims it isn't this rigid thing. He claims it is adaptive. The jury is out on that and how much we've seen of the system changing and adapting to opponents. I'm not sure, but it's got to be a lot different to winning at Anfield with 35% possession and getting out XG. You've got to dominate the game. I'm just fascinated.
It will be fascinating, and I'm not sure that we will dominate the game with this particular model. That said, it's like we don't have to go from being the worst Manchester United team in history, TM, to being Premier League title winners. That you're looking for a progression. I just don't know what the progression is from here. Does Amorim think he just gets better and better players through transfer market work, and we take this model and this is the thing that will win you the Premier League? Because if that's what he thinks, I agree with Arne Slot, right? That he will hit a ceiling, he won't go any further. But that's almost a conversation for another day, isn't it? I hate to be reactive to every fixture, but we got ourselves in a position after 50 games of Amorim ball and 35% win rate that we are kind of talking about him and his position and his long-term future at the club game to game. And it's obviously ridiculous. You should have more evidence. You can point to a bunch of underlying data this season that says, hey, we're creating more XG, our expected threat is much higher, and expected threat against and expected goals against are much lower, right? There's definitely, after 8 games or something, you can definitely see that. There is circumstances with some of that, I think, that would tamper down the excitement a little bit. But, win at Anfield, one-off kind of style of game, fine. Banging it along against Brighton next week, I can't see that that's the thing that I worry about that, honestly. I think that might tell us a little bit more about how adaptive he is. And then the rigidity is around his idea of what each player in each position has to do, right? And it's why someone like Kobe Mainu will be looking at his situation and asking him for a transfer again in January, because he's just never going to play. As we see, right, he gets 10, 15 minutes as a sub every game, because Amorim has in his mind a kind of profile of player that should be in each position. And that doesn't change, and it makes it quite predictable, I think.
Yeah. And just going back onto your previous point then, and I was just going to talk about the reaction to today, from what I've seen on social media, and obviously the fans of the ground are going to go nuts, and all power to them. Enjoy that for as long and as much as you possibly can. But I think the reaction to the win has been a little bit tempered compared to what you might expect for a first victory at Anfield in more than 9 years. A win over your biggest rivals and a win over the champions. United now 2 points behind Liverpool in the table after that, which is incredible. But I feel everyone's feeling the same thing, right? Everyone's feeling like we have been here before with wins over big teams, big performances when the pressure is really on, in a way. Big performances in these games where United sort of feel like they can flex their muscles and show, yeah, we are still a big club, we are still capable of big results. But then it's your run-of-the-mill games that will trip us up, and it's the zoomed out season as a whole thing which looks so disastrous. Put United in a one-on game one-on-one game with anyone in Europe, anyone in the world even, maybe they've got a chance. And especially the way that Amorim sets up. Look at that Sporting game, one of the last games he managed, where we all tuned in to see them destroy City.
Beat City, yeah.
It was sit deep, tactical masterclass, free Gyökeres, off you go, goal, goal, goal. And then what people don't remember about that game is City missed a hat full of chances in the same way that Liverpool did today. So, yeah, the reaction's tempered, and I understand why. United fans need a lot more evidence. I guess Amorim got that as well. You know, he should probably be trying to calm down United's players in the dressing room, and Maguire said it's more than 3 points, it's special, etc., etc.
I think that's all right for the players and the fans to do that. Amorim said afterwards...
Short term,
yeah. He said we're the same team as we were 90 minutes ago. And that's kind of the point I was making as well. I don't think this changes anything. It's a fantastic... just enjoy this as a moment. I wouldn't go overboard with this meaning we're back. I wish we were back. Can we haven't mentioned him yet. Senne Lammans.
Yes.
Senne Lammans. Do we actually have a good goalkeeper? Because we had 2 years of Dave with the yips, and we had 2 years of Onana chucking the ball in his own net. Have we got a good goalkeeper? It feels like we've got a good goalkeeper.
Our standards so low that we're viewing him through this prism, such a mediocre standard, or is he actually a really good goalkeeper? It's probably somewhere between the two.
Yeah.
But some of the saves were pretty competent. The one with his feet I really enjoyed. That was like Pete De Gea kind of save, reactive, getting down to it. The way he catches under pressure, the way he just didn't seem flustered. In a massive pressure cooker environment in front of the cop for that second half, where he would have been copping a whole heap of abuse. He's only played for us once before, that was against Sunderland, and God, his feet could have left the floor then with the amount of praise that he was receiving from the Stretford end, comparing to Schmeichel and all that. So, to keep his feet on the ground throughout that period, long time to wait between the first and second games to the club, and just how comfortable he looks being a goalkeeper, doing goalkeeping things, Ed, normal goalkeeping things which you've not become accustomed to seeing.
I know. There was the one moment when the ball was high and he sort of misjudged it. Still caught it, by the way. Still got it.
Caught it a yard behind his own head, didn't he? And it was like that Pickford moment, actually, wasn't it, at Anfield, when Pickford was catching the ball into the crossbar and just chucked it in. And that wouldn't have made him a bad goalkeeper. I think we all would have understood if Lammans had made a massive wreck against Liverpool in his second game. The guy isn't even ever played for Belgium. He's come from Royal Antwerp. 2 games in, we're all lauding him as the second coming of Peter Schmeichel. So I don't want to get over the top. It's just nice to see a bit of competence between the sticks, Ed.
Yeah, it is. I like his... He just feels like he's very composed, right? There will be bigger tests. We haven't really discovered what he can do with his feet because he's just so long in these 2 games. He's clearly been instructed, don't mess around, just boot it. Yeah. So, and fair enough. You wonder over time, is that what we're doing? We're just going to, it's 1980s style, launch it every time. So we haven't found out about that. We haven't found out how he'll react to making a mistake, because at some point he will make a mistake. But he made 5 saves today. Couldn't do anything about the goal. Didn't make any mistakes. He did well on his debut. He just feels composed. Like, it doesn't feel like he's going to lose the run of things. But I guess the real test will become if he lets one in that he shouldn't. At some point he will, or keepers make mistakes. But he just feels very composed, to come in such a big step up.
Yeah. And the relationship that he seems to be building with the defence is promising as well. They rallied round him after he made that save today. Bruno gave him a big pat on the back. It just seems so obvious to say, but you have a decent goalkeeper, and the defence feels less anxious. They don't tighten up. They aren't afraid to pass it back in pressure areas. They're not worried about him going to come for a corner that he can't reach, or him spilling one and then having to react to the rebound. Those are the kind of things that are happening every week with Onana in goal. And at Old Trafford as well, that'll be the thing as well, because at Old Trafford, having been there throughout the Onana disaster years, the tension around the stadium, whenever the ball went anywhere near him, was so palpable, and that will just be completely different now. you turn over a new leaf. It's literally turn the page, walk away, as the street said. This is something new, and this is something to get excited about. Why not feel like this guy's the answer? Why not hate that? We can hope, we can dream. He might turn out to be the next coming of Paul Rashabuka. He's the most obscure United goalkeeper I could think of.
Well, I was going to say only American goalkeeper. That's not true. Yeah, like he was American, wasn't he? But we had Tim Howard as well, obviously. Yeah.
I'd take him being as good as Tim Howard, to be honest. Tim Howard was not dreadful.
He was not dreadful. We had different standards those days, of course, because we were remembering the days of Schmeichel. So it was that weird period between, we went from Schmeichel to Barthez to Bosnich to Taibbi to Howard and Carroll and to go out to Van der Sar.
Van der Sar was the saviour, wasn't it? But that's why a lot of people didn't want Lammans, of course, because his age and how unproven he was. People just didn't trust him to be the answer. Maybe the scouts and the recruitment guys that would absolutely convinced, they clearly were, to get the deal over the line that this guy was going to be something special. I mean, what a rarity that would be in itself for United's recruitment guys to find a gem that other teams haven't found. Can't even remember the last time that would have happened. Early days. Let's not get giddy. I'm sure that Amorim feels a lot better for having Lammans there. He was clearly never quite comfortable with Onana. He basically dropped him whenever he had the chance to, and even backed Bayindir over him. And I don't actually think Bayindir is a better goalkeeper than Andre Onana. So that says a lot about what Amorim clearly thought of Onana. Yeah, interesting one to see how it develops for sure. I'm dreading his first rig.
Yeah,
it's going to be disaster again.
And well, yes, and hypothesizing, of course, but what would Amorim's reaction to that be? Right? I mean, the fans would obviously be like, because there's a lot of PTSD there.
Yeah.
Would Amorim chuck him under the bus at the first opportunity or not? But fortunately, we've not been in that situation where we have to worry about it. He's done everything pretty much perfect so far. Yeah. We've got it's Brighton and then Forest. So Brighton it's kind of interesting. We're always like, they're obviously highly data driven. They pick gems up from nowhere. They just have a lot of churn. They've got a very young manager. They didn't have a great start to the season. Kind of thinking about, like, are they vulnerable? But they've had a couple of a very good win this weekend over Newcastle. A couple of Danny Welbeck goals. Danny, nice. He's still that guy, isn't he? Bloody hell.
Should never have sold him.
Should never have sold him, ever.
I still feel such a strong affinity to him, even though he's not played for us for 10 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
New Year, same extra value meals at McDonald's. So now get 2 snack wraps plus fries and a medium soft drink for just $8.
For limited time only, prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Hawaii, Alaska, and California, and for delivery.
Kraft Mac and Cheese is better than 90s hip-hop. We'll remind you of your childhood without making you feel incredibly old. Kraft Mac and Cheese. Best thing ever.
Mount's playing well, but I want a real striker in there. Especially, we're not a team that plays with a false 9 while banging it long. It's a weird setup, right? So I want a striker in there. So I'd like Sesko to start. That would necessarily mean Cunha drops into a deeper position and Mount drops to the bench, but Mount is playing well. So there's a question there. I want Yoro back in the team because I think he does make a big difference with United's ability to build up. If we're going to build up, right? His ability to carry the ball out is much superior to De Ligt and Maguire, who have many, many qualities. Let's not go at them, but just I like him in the team for balance. And then Amorim talked about Ahmad, and he said he's perfect for that role. Yes, he is perfect for that role. So bloody play him every week.
Play him.
You know? And I'd much rather, even though we know about Dorgu's issues in the final third, let's say, it's very rare that we get a quality ball from him. I mean, we never get a quality ball from Diogo Dalot if he's playing on the left. Just never, right? So
no, it's a waste.
I'd like to see a game where we play 2 attacking wing backs, not just 1. It's just very, very rare that happens.
I mean, Dorgu was awful today, though. thought he did everything wrong when he came on, and I was
everything.
I was thinking, what's the point in changing? I said it before. What's the point in changing that? And I was thinking even more when it just literally was bouncing off him, and Liverpool was springing forward. So I do think Dolgo will probably come in, and you'd hope that Ahmad stays on the right. It is that. Do you make Mount and Maguire the two, mentality monsters of today, if you like? Mount with his pressing, Maguire popping up in a key moment, and Maguire did nothing wrong defensively today as well. I know he's got his critics, and I am among them. I don't want to see him starting on a regular basis because Yoro is just such a superior footballer in every facet, right? Like you say, bringing the ball out, passing, mobility, agility. The way he can go into those wide areas on the right, which De Ligt clearly wasn't happy doing today, and that actually gave Gakpo quite a lot of space to do his stuff, and he was their standout attacking player. That was a problem, and that problem came from picking Maguire and De Ligt, and one of them has to play wide. But it's still a quandary for Amorim to say, I'm dropping Maguire and Mount for this next game, having done so well. I agree, Sesko has to start, so you have to find a way in. You need to keep playing Cunha because I think he needs to start producing and has the talent to do so. He's not played badly for us. He just hasn't produced in terms of output, in terms of raw numbers. And we all know that you need that to satisfy the social media goons, don't you? So nice to have a couple of actual selection dilemmas, though, rather than who the hell can we put out on this pitch?
Yeah. I fully agree with the Maguire De Ligt thing. It's in a game when you can do a lot of box defending, okay, but when you want to have any kind of control and build through the thirds, you can't play both of them. De Ligt's just not that comfortable in those wide areas, but he's had a pretty good season, right? So it might be hard on Harry, who scored the winner, to drop him. But if I was picking my favourite back three right now, he wouldn't be in it. And we're going to see Leach's back on the grass. He's training, might not be ready for another month or so, but we're going to see him soon. And then suddenly you've got much better balance. So
yeah, you do. But are we ruling out the prospect of Luke Shaw ever playing at wing back?
But rolling back 5 years, I mean, just assume he's fit. You would put him at wing back, right? Because he's a very good, very high quality in those attacking situations. Always had an ability to get up and down. And had the kind of physicality as well. I'm guessing that after so many injuries for a good decade, that Amorim just doesn't see him as having the physical capacity to do that without breaking down. Maybe they have some sports science we haven't seen, some numbers that suggest, because it's obviously a very different role in a back three, where he can contribute to build-up pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, long-term, Yoro, De Ligt, Lisandro Martinez, or Aiden Heaven. I know he's not fit at the moment and barely had a chance this season. I think feels like a good balanced back three if we're going to play this bloody system, which we are.
Yeah.
Well, Amorim's in the job
and then
with two attacking wing backs. So, yeah, I want more. I want a United team, whether it's 3 or 4, whatever. And of course, there's changes in structure, whether you're in possession or out of possession, or which phase of possession you're in as well. So, don't need to really litigate all of that, but I just want a United team that imposes themselves on the opposition, and it's just been so long, and we just don't really get that with ammo ball. Ever.
Well, ammo ball sometimes dictates that there's only 3 attacking players on the pitch.
Yeah,
but it was nice to see actually at Anfield today. I know Bruno in midfield is Amorim's sort of workaround loophole to get an extra attacking player on the pitch, but also Ahmad at wing back does that as well. So 5 attacking players from the start at Anfield was nice and positive, and you got the first half performance to justify that. But you need that. You need at least 5 against everyone at home, basically, especially the likes of Brighton. So he needs to work that out. And I just think, do you remember those early days of Amorim when everyone played everywhere in a way? He was trying people out in really funky positions. Rashford at wing back, Antony at wing back. But then after a while, he decided that's stopping. I've decided on this now. And ever since then, we haven't ever seen Luke Shaw at left wing back because he just doesn't think that's his position. Is that just an inflexibility? Is that just something Amorim has closed the book on, and no more versatility or no more adaptability in those debates? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a live question, I think, just because of And Pedro is very young. He's a great athlete. He gets into some really good positions. I feel like he's a fairly intelligent footballer because I do think he tends to understand when to invert and when to go on the outside. It's just his quality with the ball.
It's not got a very good first touch, has he?
No, and I don't know whether that's going to get better or not, which would mean that we need to think about alternative solutions there because it does feel like a weak link. I'm not having to go at him. He's young, but still, I'm just like wondering where the improvement's going to come. He had a very good pre-season, but the technical aspect of his game, that's the worrying part. Diego Leon is obviously very young. He looked very raw in pre-season as well. He's not even been that good for the under-21s when he's played for them that I've seen. So I think he's got some time to develop there. One of the Fletcher brothers has been playing at left back as well, which is kind of interesting.
Well, no midweek games and no Europa League games to try people out is actually really damaging. You can't see the rotation options. You can't have people knocking on the door for competition for places because there's no bloody games. We said it before we came on air that the feeling of the season is just an empty one without these games. Amrin probably loves it maybe because he can coach a system and maybe we'll finally start to yield the benefits of that. But fans, I hate it. I need some midweek games, Ed. It's just, I can't wait for another week, especially after a win like today. You need another game.
I know, and tuning into Champions League games is not the same, is it? Because we're not there.
And all the Champions League games at this stage are completely pointless because the group stage format is like, well, it's nice to see PSG play Bayern Munich or whatever, but it doesn't really matter who wins. They're both going to get through. So, yeah. No,
I know. I don't like the new format at all. I think we had a season to work out whether it made sense. They put a lot of PR out that was about, isn't this brilliant? Like the tension at the end, game week 7 and 8. And barely was. I mean, the tension was, were Real Madrid or Manchester City going to make it through the top 24? Because they'd phoned it in for the
mad that they were so disastrous and still snuck through. I mean, that was that was a real L for the format, to quote the kids. I was just going to ask before we wrapped up, Ed, I don't know how much you've seen of the media reaction to the win today. Obviously, we spoke about a couple of athletic pieces, not painting United in the greatest of lights. I've been on a bit of a crusade on social media, noticing how every single one of our wins is invalidated because it came against 10 men, or the opposition, had the temerity to give away a penalty to us, or how dare you beat a newly promoted team at home? That doesn't count either. So there has been a whiff of let's not praise United too much in the coverage that I've seen. Is focused on, the first consecutive wins under Amorim, the first win at Anfield since 2016. I guess it's fair to mention those facts. They're quite important, but I don't see an enormous amount of credit coming United's way yet. Maybe it's a bitter fans' point of view.
No, but it's true. I mean, you if it bleeds, it leads. Or if United are losing, it's great for general media coverage. It gives them lots of stories and narrative and all of that kind of stuff. United drive views. I'm sure everyone who's modern journalism, online driven, you churn out a lot of stuff, and they're looking at the metrics, of course, and it just drives numbers for them. So, and then you've got the kind of pundit class who are all very negative. You can call it standards if you want and say, hey, they played in great teams and they expect more, but their tone is just... Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes this week. Fuck's sake. Wonderful players for the club. But it's just whinging and complaining and shitting on the club. And I'm just like, at this point, can we change the tune just a little bit? Just a little bit. I haven't seen their reaction, but I will be looking for Scholes and Neville. Neville's a bit different because he does get excited when United win. Scholes and Keane, it just appears to be impossible for them to say anything good about United, which is, I kind of, in a sense, I understand it. They played in great United sides. They were great players. And this is a shit United side with not very many good players. But it kind of legitimizes the rest of the negative media coverage, I think. If United greats are saying these lot of shit, it's not like it was in my day.
I saw a bit of Keane after the game today, and he was trying not to give United praise, but you could sort of see the smile that was and the smirk that was coming through, and a lot of the debate has actually focused on Liverpool and their shortcomings. Obviously, 4 defeats in a row. I saw a fantastic tweet which said, Arne Slot says Liverpool must improve in a number of areas, including passes, creating chances, etc., etc. Quoting that brilliant Moyes tweet. I'm enjoying that element of it. Maybe it's completely fair. United aren't very good. We said it at the top of the show. United is still a massive work in progress, but hey, beating the champions has got to count for something.
Let's talk about Liverpool before we end, because the difference between this Liverpool and Klopp's Liverpool, stylistically, it's just unbelievable how much. There wasn't much change last season. Slot got a lot of praise for not changing things too much, and didn't buy many players, or any players really, and it was just a kind of continuation. And in a flawed Premier League season, a lot of flawed teams, they came out on top without being brilliant, I would say. And he's quite radically changed the model this season. They do not aggressively press from the front anymore. And I was just struck about how the lack of intensity compared to a Klopp side that was in this. And I don't know what it is. They've obviously got some brilliant players, and they're still trying to knit together how Etitike, Wirtz and Isak and Salah can all play in this side, right? And it hasn't quite worked yet, and they're still trying to work it out. I'm just kind of struck with how kind of a bit pedestrian they look. The intensity levels don't seem like what they were.
I mean, Slot's answer today was just to throw them all on and hope that it would all fit in. And you had Wirtz playing deep midfield and Szoboszlai at right back, and Ekitike and Isak on the pitch together, both seemingly playing central all at once. It just didn't make any sense. It was a bit like what you do in Football Manager when you're losing, and just get all your forward players on and go to ultra attacking mode, and we'll hopefully get a goal. I guess it nearly paid off, but it didn't seem like the measured management of a Premier League winning side. And it just, I'm sure it will click. These players are good, and I'm having fun saying how Florian Wirtz hasn't got any goals or assists yet, and I'm having fun seeing Mohamed Salah's pretty stark decline. I mean, he looks like a shadow of his former self at the moment. We know that he's an absolute elite player. Maybe he will come good one more time, but you just knew when the ball was falling to him today that he wasn't going to produce. It just didn't feel like his day, and against United so often it has been. So it's a really strange one. They've lost 4 in a row, and we can all laugh, but I still think that they've got a hell of a lot of good players, and they'll probably work it out in the end. Maybe that won't be enough for the title this year, because I think Arsenal are actually quite a formidable force, and they're quite fun to laugh at and be second place banter merchants and all that. But the squad's probably as deep, if not deeper, than Liverpool's, and
it's very
deep.
The Arsenal
a formula that is working, whereas Slot's tweaked formula.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what his reaction is to that and how he changes things around. And because 4 defeats in a row, it's meaningful.
I don't want to say imagine if that was United, but imagine if that was United.
I mean, it would be ugly. ugly scenes on social media, and maybe on podcasts too. Yeah. I said in the extra show this week, I think he might do it for me if we lost 5-6, 7-0, because we've had a few of those at Anfield in recent years, or against Liverpool. And so I'm very happy that did not happen. I'm enjoying this win. I'm not getting too giddy with it, because I just think there's too many flaws at the moment, and probably Brighton and Forest tell us more than a one-off victory against Liverpool, but it's fantastic. So, but yeah, next week big test, and then Forest with Marianakis appointing himself as coach will be fun. Please, let him do it. Just one game. I want him to do it. The banter, the stories, just for the narrative.
I mean, spin the wheel. Who's next? I mean, take your pick. Sean Dyche, anyone? Or I've got no idea where they go from there. I was fortunate enough to say that I actually attended the one game in which Ange Postecoglou didn't lose a game as Forest manager when they played Burnley a few weeks ago. And I wrote for The Guardian that I actually thought that they were looking decent and that you could build something. So that shows how much I know, guys.
I mean, it's such bizarre.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. bizarre. Like, it's not an original thought because everyone said it, but you couldn't get a wider stylistic change than going from Nuno to Ange. Just couldn't. There's nothing about these two game models, systems, styles of play that are the same at all. The squad didn't change, just the manager did. And so it is pretty weird to give him 8 games and then fire him because the results have been bad. Of course the results are going to be bad. Of course. You know, you've got a completely different coach. Now, we can point to the flaws in Postecoglou's model, you know, and there are plenty of them. And I think the period of time at Spurs demonstrated that. It was just a bizarre appointment. He obviously wants more attacking football, Marinakis, because he's got a massive ego. You know, I think we're clear now that he's got hold of the social media account at Forest. You know, they've already been fined £1 million for like tweeting out that the ref was bent and stuff like that. So he's a character, as all heroin dealers are, allegedly. He was never convicted. But yeah, it is weird. So it'll be interesting, like where they go, because there's a point in Dyche. He's basically going back to the Nuno Espirito Santo model, like sitting a low block, percentage football, just not as good, right? Nuno builds teams and has success with teams, and he's just done it over and over again. And he'll probably do that at West Ham. And they'll get to the point where West Ham are decent under Nuno, and they'll complain because they also have this complex that they should be playing beautiful, attacking, winning football without having any history of that.
Well, this is the cycle
60
that
years.
all clubs must go through, I guess. And maybe we'll reach the point. Maybe Amram will actually be successful enough with this long hoofball, you know, defensive stuff that we actually start demanding return of 10 hardball and the donut midfield and then throw everyone forward and all that. It is cyclical by nature. And on that Postecoglou point, though, how all the more annoying that Manchester United lost a huge European final to Ange Ball when it wasn't even Ange Ball. It was a reduced, pathetic, skeleton version of Ange Ball, and United just turned up and meekly let them walk over us. I'm still annoyed about it.
Yeah,
so it's rightly the positive podcast on such a low note, but there you go.
I think about that every week. Every single week, I think about that. What should have been and how pathetic we were in that final.
The only good thing about that is it makes me not think about the 2021 Dave diving past 11 penalties final, which used to occupy a lot of my thoughts for a long time.
We haven't seen Senne Lammans man of the match today. I don't know whether he was man of the match. I was just looking at the FOTMod ratings. But we haven't seen him face a penalty yet. He's a big lad. He's got it. He can't be worse than Onana and Dave, though, who specialised in diving out the way of them.
Ed, it was Maguire who was obviously man of the match. Come on. Who else?
Yeah, Harry, what a header right at the end. He tweeted he loves this club. We love you today, Harry. Well done. All right. We will leave it there. We didn't talk about the women's team. I feel like I'm half-arsing this now, but a note for a very, very fine backs against the wall victory in the Champions League over Atletico Madrid in Madrid this past week. They played with 10. As the co-com said, they played with 10 men for a long time. And I did laugh at that one. No, I mean, it was a female co-commentator as well. And the lads did well. But they defended. They've had a brilliant start to the season. They've had a brilliant start to the season for all the flack that Skinner gets, including off some of his own players. He's not. Exactly
I don't think that really holds muster anymore, because the football they're playing, and I've watched a bit of them mainly for work.
Playing good football
season. Yeah. They're really sharp, fast passing football. Some really nice players to watch. Melvin Mallard's a really, really good player. Jess Park's been a fantastic signing.
Fantastic signing.
They're a decent team. They won't win the WSL because Chelsea always win the WSL, but they're a decent team, and I think it's nice to see that after the sort of absolute disinterest that the ownership's showing them, which is another point altogether. But good on them.
Yeah, very good on them. They have a fairly thin squad, so time will tell if injuries bite, whether they can sustain it. But a brilliant start to the season, fantastic victory, really good position already. It's a Swiss format in the Women's Champions League, although they play fewer games. They'll play 6 rather than 8. But they're in a great position. They got a tough draw. But yeah, good on them. All right, good on United. No midweek game. We'll be back midweek at some point to preview United's inevitable defeat to Brighton at Old Trafford, because we can't have nice things, Dominic.
Let's hope. Let's out trying to have a positive week. But yeah, we'll see.
We will. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. You can check us out at patreon.com/NQATpod if you want to get our extra shows, or I'm on Substack at NQATpod.substack.com. Do a couple of newsletters. Dominic, you're also on Substack writing stuff.
Occasionally, yes. I'm trying to pump out 2 a week, which is quite a lot because I can't help myself but write 2,000 to 2,500 words a time. Churning them out. We will see you all midweek. Dominic, thank you. Bye now. Cheers.